Did you know that 70% of motorcycle riders think they're safer on a bike than in a car? But here's the reality. Motorcyclists are 28 times more likely to be in a fatal crash than car drivers. Everywhere you look, there's bad riding advice, outdated maintenance tips, and straight-up dangerous myths that riders fall for all the time, and believing them could cost you money, your bike, or even your life. Today, we're tearing apart the 10 dumbest motorcycle myths that people actually believe, and trust me, if you fall for these, you might just be that rider. Let's get into it. Number 1. You should put your feet down at every stop. This is one of those habits that tons of new riders pick up without even thinking about it. You roll up to a stop sign or red light, and the second the bike comes to a halt, both feet go straight to the ground like you're bracing for an earthquake. It might feel like the right thing to do, but here's the truth. It's actually slowing you down, making you less stable and throwing off your control. When you stop properly, your bike is already balanced under its own weight. It's not going to suddenly tip over if you're braking smoothly. The smarter, more controlled technique is to keep your right foot on the rear brake and only put your left foot down. This keeps your rear brake engaged, giving you better control while stopped, and allows for a smoother, faster takeoff when the light turns green. Ever notice how experienced riders seem to take off effortlessly? That's because they're not fumbling with both feet down, trying to get repositioned before hitting the throttle. But here's the kicker. Dropping both feet every single time can actually make you less stable. If the road is uneven or slippery, throwing your feet down can lead to a loss of balance or even a tip over. Instead, keeping that one foot up and on the brake ensures your bike stays planted and ready to move at a moment's notice. Pro riders use this method for a reason. It's smoother, safer, and makes you look like you actually know what you're doing. Number 2. Racing fuel or aviation gasoline will make your bike faster. Some riders think that dumping racing fuel or even aviation gas into their bike will magically turn it into a rocket. They imagine their motorcycle suddenly gaining insane horsepower, hitting higher speeds, and leaving everyone in the dust. But here's the reality. It doesn't work like that. High-octane fuels like race gas, 100 plus octane, or aviation fuel are designed for high-compression, high-performance engines, the kind of setups you see in race bikes or turbocharged machines. Your regular street bike, it wasn't built for that kind of fuel. In fact, putting higher octane than what your engine requires won't increase power. It actually burns less efficiently and can cause issues like carbon buildup, sluggish performance, and even rough idling. Why? Because octane rating doesn't mean more power, it only indicates resistance to knocking. Your motorcycle's ECU is tuned for a specific fuel type, and unless your bike is modified for high-octane racing fuel, you're literally just wasting money at the pump. And aviation fuel, even worse. It's designed for aircraft engines at high altitudes, and using it in a motorcycle can lead to engine damage, misfiring, and excessive wear. Number 3. You must warm up your bike for 10 minutes before riding. Some riders treat their motorcycles like they're old carbureted dinosaurs, letting them idle for 10 minutes before even thinking about twisting the throttle. They rev the engine a few times, stand around waiting, and believe they're doing their bike a favor. Spoiler alert, they're not. Here's the truth. Modern motorcycles, especially fuel-injected ones, don't need long warm-ups. In fact, excessive idling does more harm than good by wasting fuel, increasing carbon buildup, and delaying the time it actually takes for the engine to reach optimal temperature. What's the right way to warm up your bike? Start it. Let it idle for 30 to 60 seconds, then ride off gently. Your engine actually warms up faster under light load, meaning cruising at a moderate pace is far better than just sitting there burning gas. Long warm-ups might have made sense decades ago, when bikes had carburetors that needed time to get fuel flowing properly. But with modern fuel injection and advanced engine management systems, your bike is designed to self-adjust quickly and get up to operating temperature as you ride. Number 4. Downshifting. Instead of braking is bad for your bike. Some riders freak out at the idea of engine braking, convinced that downshifting to slow down will wear out their engine, or somehow damage the internals. They avoid it entirely, relying only on their brakes, thinking they're saving their motorcycle. But here's the reality. Downshifting and engine braking aren't just safe, they're actually beneficial. Your bike is designed to handle engine braking. In fact, racers and experienced riders use it all the time to maintain control when slowing down, especially when approaching turns. By gradually letting off the throttle and smoothly downshifting, your bike naturally reduces speed without putting all the strain on your brakes. This helps increase the lifespan of your brake pads and rotors, giving you better longevity and performance over time. The only real risk? Slamming down multiple gears at once or dumping the clutch too quickly. That's what causes sudden rear wheel lockup, leading to instability or even a skid. But controlled, smooth downshifting is completely normal and, when done right, actually makes for a smoother, safer ride. Number 5. Sport bikes are too dangerous for beginners. A lot of people believe that sport bikes and new riders don't mix. The second you hop on one, you'll either flip over backward or go flying into a ditch. And sure, if we're talking about 1000cc liter bikes, that's a fair concern. But the idea that all sport bikes are too dangerous for beginners? That's complete nonsense. The truth is, not all sport bikes are created equal. Yes, a 1000cc superbike like a Yamaha R1 or a BMW S1000RR is absolutely too much for a new rider. The sheer power, throttle sensitivity, and aggressive handlings make them a bad choice for beginners. But smaller displacement sport bikes like a Kawasaki Ninja 400, Yamaha R3, or Honda CBR 500R are actually fantastic beginner bikes. They're lightweight, easy to control, and provide just enough power to grow with you as you improve your skills. In fact, many riding schools and instructors recommend starting with a lightweight sport bike because they help develop better throttle control, body positioning, and cornering skills early on. A properly chosen sport bike can help a beginner learn faster rather than being a death trap like some people claim. Number 6. Helmets do more harm than good in a crash. There's always that one guy who swears that helmets are more dangerous than riding without one. They'll say things like, helmets increase neck injuries, they block your vision and hearing, or the classic if you crash, a helmet will break your neck. But here's the cold, hard truth. This myth has been debunked over and over again by real-world crash data and scientific studies. Helmets do not increase neck injuries. They actually reduce fatal head trauma by up to 69% and lower the risk of death in a motorcycle crash by 42%, according to studies from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Centers for Disease Control. Modern helmets are designed to absorb impact forces, reduce rotational injuries, and protect your skull and brain from catastrophic damage. And what about vision and hearing? Another weak argument. DOT and ECE certified helmets are tested for wide peripheral vision, meaning they won't block your ability to see traffic around you. Number 7. Bigger engines always mean more speed. A lot of people assume that the bigger the engine, the faster a bike like a 1800cc cruiser must automatically be faster than a 600cc sport bike just because it has more displacement. But here's the reality. Engine size alone doesn't determine speed. What really matters is the power to weight ratio, gearing, aerodynamics, and engine tuning. Take a Harley-Davidson Road Glide with its 1868cc V-twin engine and put it next to a Yamaha R6, a 600cc sport bike. You might think the Harley would be faster, but in reality, the R6 will absolutely smoke it in acceleration and top speed. Why? Because the R6 is lighter, revs higher, and has a much better power-to-weight ratio than the heavy touring bike. Even within the same category, a larger engine doesn't always mean a faster bike. Some 1000cc adventure bikes are tuned for low-end torque and off-road capability, while a 750cc street bike may be designed for pure speed and acceleration. The way an engine delivers power is just as important. Some bikes are built for torque and cruising, while others are designed for high revving horsepower and top-end speed. Number 8. The rear brake is just as important as the front brake. A lot of beginner riders think that the front and rear brakes should be used equally every time they stop, like a car. Sounds logical, right? Wrong. The truth is, your front brake does about 70 to 90% of the stopping power, while the rear brake plays a much smaller role, and relying on it too much can actually be dangerous. Here's why. When you brake, weight shifts forward, pressing the front tire harder against the road and increasing traction. That's why the front brake is so powerful, it gets more grip and more stopping force. The rear brake, on the other hand, gets lighter as the weight shifts forward, meaning it has less traction and is easier to lock up. If you slam the rear brake too hard, you can easily skid out and lose control. Now, does that mean the rear brake is useless? Not at all. It's still important for low-speed maneuvers, emergency corrections, and stability. Number 9. Motorcycle tires should always be inflated to maximum PSI. Some riders think that pumping their tires to the maximum PSI listed on the sidewall will give them better performance, better fuel economy, and more speed. But here's the reality. Overinflating your tires can actually make your bike handle worse and reduce your safety. The maximum PSI printed on the tire isn't the recommended pressure. It's the highest pressure the tire can handle before it risks failure. Motorcycle manufacturers actually specify the ideal tire pressure for your bike, and that number is what you should be following, not the max limit. Why does this matter? Overinflated tires have less contact with the road, which reduces grip and makes it harder for your bike to corner properly. On the flip side, underinflated tires can overheat, wear out faster, and make your bike feel sluggish. The sweet spot is the manufacturer's recommended PSI, which is carefully tested for the best balance of grip, stability, and ride comfort. Number 10. New riders should never carry a passenger. A lot of people say that new riders should never carry a passenger, that it's too dangerous, too difficult, and that you need years of experience before even thinking about it. But here's the truth. While carrying a passenger does change the way your bike handles, it's not something that's completely off limits for beginners. With the right approach, preparation, and practice, even new riders can safely carry a passenger. The key is understanding how a passenger affects your bike's balance, braking, and acceleration. When you add another person to the seat, your bike's center of gravity shifts, and you'll notice things like slower acceleration, longer stopping distances, and a slightly different feel when turning. But none of this makes riding impossible. It just means you need to adjust your riding style accordingly. Here's what really matters. Before taking a passenger, a new rider should first be comfortable handling the bike solo. Starting, stopping, turning, and slow speed maneuvering should feel natural. Once that's locked in, practicing with a passenger at low speeds in a safe area can help get used to the extra weight. Most importantly, communication with your passenger is key. Let them know to hold on firmly, keep their feet on the pegs, and lean with you, not against you. If they follow those simple instructions, carrying a passenger becomes a smooth and controlled experience, not a risky disaster waiting to happen.